No. Tay, you need to clean up behind your side. I'm a very compassionate person. I like helping others, and I know that a lot of people probably start off with it, but I do. I like helping other people. That's how I ended up in the field that I'm in.
Athlete, educator, philosopher.
Yeah.
Just a seeker of knowledge. That's me. Family oriented. That's my deal. That would sum everything up about me.
We met running track. Rodney let me sit on his seat. Just interacting with one another in the classrooms.
She was is a pretty girl, and she was very attractive to me. We had good conversations, and then it was just like could be considered to be my first love.
That was my first time hearing it.
We never really, throughout high school had a true relationship. We had a friendship where we talked to each other and things like that, but we really got into a relationship when I went to Valley, and she had graduated and went on to MDCC.
I remember us going off on we were in student government together, and we were on a trip together. We hung out the whole time, and one time we did try to get in a relationship, but yeah, he chose somebody else over me. I always joke with him and say, back then he didn't want me. Now I'm hiding y'all on it. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. But I did tell my mom, hey, that's gonna be your son-in-law. At the time, I didn't know what I was saying, but I was speaking it into existence. I'm gonna get into anything. I'll be back. Don't go before I leave.
I've been knowing Kenyatta, and we've always hung out. She's younger than me, actually, so she used to hang out with my sister Ivory quite a bit. And then me and her just started hanging out, and we've been hanging out ever since. She's like my little, she used to get so mad because I used to call her the little angel of the group. Like, she's like the wise counsel in the group. If you got, how you have your sets of friends, your groups who you want to talk to, when you want to know the real, like the right thing to do, but in a nice way, you just call Kenyatta and she's going to be there. And she's going to tell you, now, Tamika, that ain't right. So that is Kenyatta.
Rodney and I, if it wasn't on the football field, I didn't really know a lot about him. We ran with different crowds, but I mean, like I said, I just knew he was a cool guy, real smart, never had any issues, any problems, anything like that.
Rodney had asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was kind of reluctant because I had just gotten out of a relationship and didn't want to just jump into another one. I was afraid of being hurt.
From 97 to 2002, we were just boyfriend and girlfriend, but we had our baby. Our first child was born in 98. So, what really, I was undecided. Kenyatta was always throughout the time asking me, to marry her. But, I was young and immature and just didn't understand the value of having a wife at the time.
I wanted to get married, a woman. We are, that's just the norm for us. We know that I can't speak for everyone, but for the majority of us. But I remember one day Rodney picking me up from my mom's house, and we were going to Louise, and you told me, you said, hey, you never asked me to marry you, but you said you're gonna be my wife, or you're gonna marry me, or something like this.
I just didn't have the courage at the time, but when Kenyatta got pregnant with our second child, little Rodney, that kind of just let me know at the time that we couldn't keep on doing that no more. We had to just go on and get married.
Okay.
We were, when we were asking people to be in our wedding, it was not as creative as it is these days. She probably just called me or stopped by my house one day and said, I'm getting married. Do you want it? And I want you to be in my wedding. It was not as creative as people are these days.
It was, just like, it's just an experience to get married, for any young man. It's just a transitional phase, like where, like you thinking about getting married, but you really never know how it's gonna feel when you standing there in that church in front of the pastor or whatnot, and all your family and her family's there. It's just a magical type thing. I think just that whole occurrence was a great deal.
It was so cold that day. And our wedding started so late. It was like an hour or two late. And my grandmother, she was a jokester. So I said, Grandma, is he here? Because in my mind, I thought he's not gonna show up. And she said, baby, no, he's not here. And my stomach was in knots. But when I walked out and I saw Rodney, I made up in my mind, I said, I'm not about to cry, because I ain't messing my makeup up. But it was that moment when I saw him in that tuxedo standing up there waiting on me.
I want to remain faithful and true. I gotta be I promise to hold you tight.
Once the challenges arise, you begin to understand how far you have to go, and like how much it takes to be able to make it work. Yeah. It's just like I'm a coach. Well, I was previously a football coach, and you had to, just in sport, you have to make adjustments on the fly. So it's just a lot of game plan and a lot of reevaluating and readjusting and going back to the drawing board, back to the table, to try to figure out the correct strategy to kind of overcome whatever challenges you may face. So it's just even with that, it's a growth process that's just continuous. And after a while, if you do the right things and approach it the right way, you'll reach a point where everything just smooth out, and it's just it's better than it's ever been.
Right. So I say when we first got married and we moved in together, it was different than dating, because now we're living together. And when we moved in together, when we got married, it was some things that Rodney did that I'm comparing him to my dad. My dad don't do this. And I was looking at my mom and my dad's marriage and kind of trying to compare our marriage, where it's supposed to look like this, it's supposed to look like that. Now, early on, I felt like you supposed to act like my daddy. But he didn't act like my dad, and I had to realize, they two different people. We got two different marriages. My marriage is not gonna look like my mom and my dad's. So that early on, that was a problem, for us. I had to realize, this ain't my daddy, this my husband, so he's not gonna operate like my dad. So yeah, I say then, moving in with him, I learned a little bit more. Like I said, when we were just talking on the phone, then when we started dating, I learned a little bit more about Rodney. But then when we moved in together, I learned a lot more about him. We had been dating for years before we moved in together. So
yeah, that alludes to just that growth process.
Right. Yeah.
with my family background, what I saw my parents go through, that prepared me and just let me know that challenges were ahead and that we were gonna have to tackle those challenges most definitely. We didn't communicate effectively. We didn't understand how to communicate with each other effectively. A lot of times, you know, we would argue and, you know, that didn't do nothing but, you know, further intensify the situation or what we were dealing with. It didn't solve the problem at all. So our communication efforts were very flawed early on in our relationship, in our marriage. It was tough. It was tough. It felt bad at times. You know, it was a struggle. It was just tough times. You know, where we just had to figure it out. So I would say it felt bad during those times. It was tough, very tough times.
No, marriage wasn't everything I expected it to be. Like I said, I thought it was gonna be a bed of roses, but it wasn't. We got married. It started off pretty good, but then it got rocky. And I wanted to bail out because I thought maybe I didn't marry the right person. Maybe I didn't marry who God intended for me to marry. So there were a lot of times when I said, hey, no, I don't think this is gonna work. We faced a lot of adversity. And it was in those times when I said, hey, it's not gonna work. We separated at one time, and that was the hardest time of my life. Rodney made some bad choices, and it was some times that my husband had to forgive me too, because I didn't make the right choices. When I felt like, okay, he doing this, I'm do it too. So, and I wouldn't advise anybody to do that because it doesn't feel good, you know, trying to get your lick back. But yeah, it was a lot of adversities. Pulling through it, I'm glad that we did stick together because it kind of, it pushed me into the person I needed to be. And I feel like our trials, it made us stronger. It pushed us closer together once we got on the right track and did it the right way, did marriage the right way.
Having both parents growing up in the house, you can learn life from two different perspectives. Well, a valuable lesson I learned from my parents is to keep going. Like any situation, just persevere.
Having both parents in the home means a lot to me because, like, growing up, seeing a lot of people that don't have both of their parents, like I can tell that it takes a toll on them, and I'm not saying it's in a bad way, but I'm glad that I'm able to have both of my parents and I don't have to go through what they have to go through.
What I learned from my parents' marriage is when time get rough, to keep going. Like the advice they gave me, perseverance.
Something that I've learned from my parents' marriage is love, basically. Some people say that you're too young to know what love is, but I feel like that's not true. Like if you see like people in your life that's really in love, like you know what love is, and they showing you love, so you obviously know what it is. That's what my parents showed me.
My most fondest memory of my mom and dad together was the birth of my son. It was exciting to see how happy they were to be grandparents, and I feel like it gave my dad a second chance to like raise another boy in the family other than my brother. Growing up with both parents in the home with me was good because like while I was in school, a lot of my classmates, they would be like, I'm going to my dad's house this weekend. And I couldn't relate to that because I'm with both of my parents every day, so I felt like that was a good thing for me to like have both of them there and not having to split weekends or whatever. Some of the benefits of having both of my parents in my home was like watching them love each other, and that just showed us like how we were supposed to be treated as we got older. From my parents' marriage, I learned that if you really love someone and you really want to be with them, you should fight to the very end.
When we moved here, I had been going around to different churches and ended up at Unique Life Church under Pastor LaMarcus and Janelia.
Kenyatta came to church. It was by herself, and I've always been that person who wants to make sure I touch bases with, the new face at church. It's just been my thing, even when we were at our previous church. And so just in talking with her, I came to know her, and she was, I think she had said they had recently moved to the area and that they were looking for a church.
When I went into that church, Rodney and I were having problems. And I never said anything to anybody about it, but Janelia, she's such a sweetheart. She remembered my name.
Yeah, so it started off with Kenyatta coming to the church, and after that, I think the family kind of trickled in after, I would say, her coming and feeling like she was connecting with the ministry. And as it stands today, every single member of their family is a member of the church.
I ended up going back to another service, and she, like I said, she remembered my name, and she asked me, and I thought I was just going about daily life, looked the same, I wasn't wearing my problems. And she asked me, is everything okay?
We have been doing marriage ministry, so to speak, even before we realized we were doing it. We've been meeting with couples. We actually have a group of friends, a group of married friends that we meet with, and we've been doing that since before the birth of our kids.
17, so we've been together at least 16 years.
Yeah, so in a lot of practical forms, we've been doing this for 17, 18 years. But from a more, I guess, structured standpoint, we've been doing it probably 8, 10 years, if not a little bit more, from a structured part of actually sitting down.
I think, during the course of our marriage, I've always been reluctant to seeking counseling. It was just something that I felt that, like, as a man, I didn't feel the need to share my business in so many words with anyone else. And I was very reluctant to pursuing counseling, but I trusted in Kenyatta's decision in her choice to choose Unique Life Church and Pastor LaMarcus and Sister Janelia to conduct our counseling sessions. And it turned out to be a great thing.
I felt like it was good to go because it was somebody that didn't know anything about Rodney and I, and they were not going to be biased to me or, to him. So somebody that was just neutral, that didn't know anything about us, that was so important to me.
We don't look at the issue as much as that they're presenting with. We look at the symptoms that they're presenting with. Like, what are they bringing to us? Because the truth is, whatever they're bringing to us, that's not really what the issue is. That's not really what's going on. There's an underlying thing. There's something else there that's causing that problem. Because, it's going to sound cliche, but if you're struggling with communication, talk more. Like, that's not very hard, But the struggle is not really communication. The struggle is a feeling of disrespect or a feeling of not being loved that doesn't prompt you to even think that that person will hear you, so you don't even try. Like, there's always something else there. And we just
someone's upbringing to stuff feelings.
Right.
We don't necessarily
Right.
share. Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly right. We grew up not talking about stuff like that. You just deal with it. You suppress. You know, there's so many things there that we have to get people to look at different, because the one thing we've learned is that we just hadn't been taught properly. Like, you know, God bless our parents, our grandparents. They did the best they could in many situations, but what we've seen has not necessarily been according to the gospel mandate, according to the biblical mandate of what marriage is supposed to be. And when we restore that, then all of a sudden we restore a good functioning marriage.
Counseling, it helped to lay the foundation for where we are right now. You know, we thought we knew how to do it, but after our counseling with Unique Life Church, Pastor Lamarcus and Sister Janelia, it just skyrocketed us to a place in our relationship that we couldn't have envisioned to be at this point in time. Also helped us to understand the true hierarchy of marriage, where each individual person I shouldn't put Kenyatta before God, or she shouldn't put me before God. God should be the umbrella over both of us, and then the hierarchy trickles down from there. But God has to come first in order for a marriage to work.
For me, success is pretty simple. It's a willingness to take another step. You know, just not going up, not giving up, not giving in. As a matter of fact, at our initial meetings, when we see anybody, the first thing we ask for is a commitment. Now, just lock in. Just if you will be committed to the process, then we'll walk with you through it and get you to the other side. But you can't say, let me see how this is going to work. Let me decide if this is something I want to do. Then you got to go all in. So for me, that getting that initial commitment, I feel good then knowing that now whatever is necessary after that, we'll be able to get that because you're committed. You're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and just to add to that, if they're committed, if they are active participants, honest, because we always say we can only be as helpful as you are honest, but also patient. Things will get better if they bring all those things to the table and are willing to do those things.
It feels good. I mean, we look back on some things and laugh about the mistakes we made, how we were in the past. But I am so glad that, I'm gonna say this, I don't wanna go through it no more. But I appreciate the difficult times that we went through, because it has made us so much better. It has made us so much better. We were having a conversation with one another one day. It was something that I did, or something. Rodney came to me and said something to me about it. I said, now back in the day, I wouldn't know how to take that, you know, but yeah, he could talk to me now about some things that I do, and I'm like, you know what, okay, I'm gonna take a look at that. I try to, you know, do better. You know, I don't get offended. So it's like a party now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah.
You know, just knowing that for the long haul, that it's gonna be smooth sailing, and that you know, it's gonna be free of a lot of the things that plagued us at the beginning. Just understanding that we have the strategies, you know, we have what it takes to make it through whatever. And when you look back at how far you've come, you know, it just lets you know that you can definitely make it to the end. You know, you can make it through. You know, I would say that marriage is the best way to exemplify the love that God had for us. You know, just sharing a relationship with your significant other is no better way to show God's power than through marriage. Through that bond that you'll develop with the person that was meant for you.
Right. That's it in a nutshell.
Well, Kenyatta and Rodney, I would like to say happy anniversary. I am so glad that you all are making it to this momentous moment. I've been there since day one. And I feel like, people say relationship goals. I'm not going to say relationship goals. I just love the relationship. As it says, black love. When people get married, young people get married, they think it's all peaches and cream and strawberries and roses, and it's not. And it's just real with y'all. And I've seen y'all overcome, turn tests into testimonies, and all of that good stuff. Like, triumph. When I think about y'all, I think about a mighty long way that you've come. Y'all have grown. Like, y'all, I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up sometimes. And y'all are such adults, even though y'all are so much younger. But I just want y'all to know that I love y'all. I pray for y'all all the time. I want y'all to continue to be successful, continue to be happy. Let's continue to travel and continue to make all these wonderful memories together.
Okay. So I would say to the Dents, again, congratulations on reaching that milestone. 20 years is a lot. I know we're right behind you guys, and then for you guys to be doing it as long as you've been doing it, 20 plus years, because you started in high school. For myself, I know I used to always say I would never marry anybody from my hometown. I'm just being real. I also said I would never get married until I was at least 35, and I ended up marrying this woman at 28. So I reneged on two things. But I can say you guys are one of the couples that I admire, I look up to, even though you're younger than I am, but you've done some amazing things. Like she said, the shirts, black love, you guys are the epitome of that. Keep doing what you're doing, and we want to bless you guys with 20 more years and look forward to it. But I did want to say something I thought about earlier when it comes to marriage, what I think about with you guys, and we kind of follow in that. But with you guys, marriage is like a camera. You capture those moments. You focus and you capture moments. But if you think about it, you're also going to run into those negatives. When you run into those negatives, the only thing you can do is get rid of those negatives. You refocus and you take another picture. And that's what I think about you guys. So congratulations.
Where did you read that at?
I don't know what to say, but happy 20th anniversary. I love both of you guys, and I just pray for nothing but the best in you guys' marriage. And thank you for everything you've given me, and just giving me life, and teaching me how to go about life, you know what I'm saying? And just being there when I needed you. Love you guys.
I want to say I love y'all and thank y'all for everything y'all done for me. And I appreciate y'all, and happy 20th anniversary.
Mom and Dad, happy 20th wedding anniversary. Josiah and I love you, and we look forward to watching you all grow older together. Say I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, we want to wish you guys just the best anniversary ever on your 20th year. What an incredible milestone, and just so excited to see how God has taken you from where you were year one to where you were to where you are now. And I invite you to really look at that. Just think of all that God has done, all He's brought you through, all He's helped you overcome, and just know that the growth, the blessings that you've seen so far are going to pale in comparison to all that God has in store for you. So excited for you. Happy anniversary.
And just in addition to that, I love how you guys have, at least to us, blossomed. We laugh all the time that you guys are quiet, but as we've grown together, I love how your personalities have just began to get more and more colorful. And so I just want to encourage y'all to continue to allow, as you grow together, allow the time to be fun, allow that time of laughter to just flow into all areas of your life, and know that we're always here no matter what. However, we know soon that you guys will be blessing other marriages as well.
Yeah. And as we always say, God bless you, God keep you, and we love you.